Hello, everyone. My name is John Brenneman. I'm the president here at MOA Vacations. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I am joined by Tim Birch with Atlas Ocean Voyages. We got a lot to get through today, so thank you for joining us. I do like to remind everybody at the beginning, we will be recording, or we are recording this. So this afternoon, we will send you an email. It will include a link so you can rewatch this video at your leisure. Before we get started and talking about Atlas, I always like to talk a little bit about MOA Vacation for those of you who may not be very familiar. Tim, yeah, there you go. One of the things we always talk about is our service. I was actually in Washington, D.C. earlier this week at MOA Spring Meetings, and I literally talked about this exact same thing about how we are and we continue to be the only travel agency in the country that offers us travel at a satisfaction guaranteed basis. And what that means simply is if you have an issue, a problem, a concern before or during your travel, you contact us. We resolve it to your satisfaction. I actually handle most of these personally. If I'm traveling or on the road, sometimes Mike Tyrell, our vice president, handles some, but between Mike and I, we handle 100% of these issues so we can get them done in a very timely issue. And it's just our commitment to service to MOA members such as yourself. We do offer lowest price guarantee. In fact, we're going to talk today about some pricing we have that's actually lower than what you can get through other travel agencies or even going direct to Atlas. But we always guarantee you'll get the lowest price. Sometimes it's even lower than what the industry pricing is. We do free amenities. We'll talk about that when we talk about our Greek Isles signature group for next year. We include an onboard credit for everyone. And then group opportunities. Obviously, our MOA groups are the groups we're going to have to focus on today. But was just, as I mentioned, in DC earlier this week, and one of the members came up when we were talking, and he's talking about putting together a group of his family for their 45th wedding anniversary. And whether it's friends, a golf group, a wine and food club, just your neighbors, or if it's some kind of family event, an anniversary, multi-generational travel, you, your kids, your grandkids, whatever that group might be, we can certainly work with you to put up your own personal group. We can do a group for your local chapter or your state organization. Obviously, we'd need you to put us in contact with the chapter of the state, but we'll work with them to put a trip together. And then what we're going to talk about today is literally two different things. We have a MOA signature group and we have a MOA group, but I'm kind of jumping a little bit ahead of myself. But the MOA signature groups, for those of you who aren't familiar, these are easily the most popular things that we do. We are going to talk a little bit later on about a specific signature group, which is on Atlas for the Greek Isles. There will be MOA leadership and staff on board. They are there to ensure that you have a stress-free vacation. Plus, it's a great opportunity to interact with MOA leadership. Ask the questions you want to ask, share the opinions you have, hear what's literally going on. For those of you who don't know, and I assume most of you do, this is the week where MOA leaders from all across the country go to DC, and they're actually up on the Hill talking to congressmen and senators, fighting for those benefits for all veterans, not just for MOA members. So it's a very important part of what they do. And having been on some of these signature groups in the past, it is an unbeatable opportunity to literally sit down and talk to leadership and hear what's going on and share your opinions with them. We talk about all inclusive. We make them as all inclusive as we can. I'm going to let Tim kind of talk more about how almost everything's included in your Atlas cruise. We'll have exclusive events. We always have welcome cocktail parties, farewell cocktail parties, with opportunity for everyone to meet everyone else on the group. Family and friends. I mentioned at the start that we are recording this and we're going to send you a copy of this webinar. Feel free to share it with your friends and family. When you travel with us, everything we offer, the satisfaction guarantee, the reduced pricing, the amenities, the ability to go on these signature groups, is available to MOA members and everyone that you want to bring with you. So we always on signature groups have people who bring someone, a brother, a child, friends, something like that. So we want your vacation to be as enjoyable as possible. So if you think, boy, this would be a lot more fun if my fill in the blank brother went, my daughter went, whatever that case may be, absolutely bring them along. They get all the service, all the amenities, all the discounted pricing. And they are rare opportunities. Up until recently, we used to say we only do 2 a year. We are doing 3 in 2025. We did 3 in 2024, and we will probably end up doing 3 in 2026 as well. So, as I mentioned, when we started back in 2019, we were only doing 2 a year. They've been filling up so quickly. We have such a demand. We've kind of expanded that. We're going to do 3 a year. But when we talk about the signature groups, and Greek Isles is in 2025. There's only 3 of them we do every year. So we literally, if you want to join us, we certainly hope that you'll reach out to us quickly. So before I turn it over to Tim, I just going to give you a quick glance because we are going to talk about this. Tim's going to start out and he's going to talk about Atlas. A lot of people aren't familiar with them. They are a new cruise line. They are kind of unique in the cruise marketplace. They have 3 ships currently. They're building more, but the ships have less than 200 passengers. So it literally is more of a yacht experience. And that reflects in a lot of different ways, not only on board, where we have the entire ship. So I think that's important to note. And we'll talk about a lot of this a number of times. So everyone on the ship will be a MOA member or a MOA guest. And that's one of the things about the signature groups that I think everyone likes so much is from the moment you step on board, you basically know everyone, or at least you have a shared background with everybody on board. I always like to categorize that as friends you just haven't met yet. So it is so much camaraderie, such a friendly group of people to travel with. So you'll just love it. So, but not only on board does a ship this size allow us to hold the entire ship, but if you can see that itinerary, you'll see that we go to some of the very popular favorites, but we also go to some smaller ports that, quite frankly, larger ships can't go to. And it's great not only the fact that you go to a port that not a lot of people go to, but if you're like me, you've been on a number of cruises. I've been on the bigger ships. I did Greek Isles just last year for vacation. I went on Regent, and Regent ships are considered small in the industry because they have about 400, 600 passengers. Some of the newer ships have more than that, but they're kind of on the small end. But I've been on the larger ships where you're sailing with 2,000 plus people. And you know what it's like when that ship docks, particularly at smaller ports, where it's just lines getting on, lines getting off, and everything. And you avoid that on a much smaller ship. But anyway, I'm going to let Tim talk about that more. So Tim's going to talk about Atlas. He's going to talk about the MOA Signature Group. Then I'm going to talk a little bit more. I want to talk about some opportunities we have that's going to save you a lot of money on an Atlas cruise. Opportunity to do a back-to-back. And then Tim and I are going to do some Q&As. As I always do, or at least I've been doing lately, I'm actually going to turn my camera off. And then while Tim's doing his presentation, I will be answering questions in the Q&A. You just put your cursor, your mouse, or whatever at the bottom of the screen. You'll see a little something pop up. The little conversation bubbles says Q&A. Just type your questions in there. A lot of them I'll answer while Tim's doing his presentation. If it's something I think everyone would be interested in, we'll actually revisit those end at the Q&A. So ask your questions as they come up. And without any further ado, I'm turning it over to Tim. Tim, tell us more about Atlas.
Good afternoon. John, I was thinking about it today, and you and I and your father have been working together in this business for close to 30 years. I think that's absolutely amazing. You're
We
a great
started when we were young, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. I started when I was 5. But it's just such a pleasure to work with you all. I mean, it always has been, and I do believe that you selected a fantastic voyage this year. And that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about Atlas Ocean Voyages. As John mentioned earlier, you're probably not that familiar with Atlas, but we've been around for about 3.5 years. But obviously we know what happened with the pandemic happened and, all of that. But so now we actually have 3 vessels. I refer to them as yachts because it is, they're ships, but it truly is a yacht experience, as John mentioned. Fewer than 200 guests on board. There's so many advantages to sailing with Atlas Ocean Voyages. So basically, I want to talk about the actual ship that you'll be going on, the Navigator, which is our first vessel that was built. I was on the Navigator about 6 months ago, and she looks like she looked when she came out of the shipyard. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful lines, just a wonderful, wonderful looking vessel. And the nice thing about our fleet, we have a fleet of three, is they're all identical. And because I guarantee once you get off of this cruise, you're probably going to go to John and want another Atlas cruise, and it could be on the Voyager or it could be on the Traveler. And the nice thing about it is you'll be familiar with the entire vessel because everything is identical. I want to talk about Epicurean Expeditions, which is something which is a part of the program that John selected on the cruise that you're going on. We are an expedition company, but the beauty about us is that not only do we traverse in the Arctic and Antarctica, but we also visit several different areas of the world. And it's really, I think we offer a new way to discover the world in luxury, relaxed luxury. And I really want to focus on that word relax, because I will tell you that I, again, have been in the cruise business for over 30 years. And it's wonderful where it just really is a country club feel. I can tell you that, when I sail on Atlas, I may bring a sport coat. I'll bring it and I may wear it, I may not. It's just total relaxation. And it's so gratifying for me when I'm sitting on a vessel and cruising throughout wherever I'm going, and to hear our guests talk about where they're talking to other folks that they meet on board, where they're saying, we just feel like we're on, this just is like a yacht for 100, 180, 190 people. So I guarantee you it's comfortable, we're flexible, everything about it. And then John kind of touched on this earlier, but we have the ability with our vessels, because again, keep in mind, only 10,000 gross registered tons, and we have the ability to traverse in waters, quite honestly, that obviously a lot of the bigger cruise ships cannot do. And this proves, you'll find it, especially in this itinerary that John selected, because it's very, very port intensive. So again, just to kind of give you an overview of Atlas and where we go. Obviously, we do Antarctica. We focus entirely our efforts for about 5 months in Antarctica, all three of our vessels. We do the Arctic, we do the Iceland and Greenland, but obviously today I want to focus on the Med, but we do Northern Europe. We just introduced Patagonia and the Falklands, South America, a little bit of Caribbean, and some transoceanic. So, we do have year-round expeditions, as I mentioned earlier. We focus on the polar expeditions, and then, of course, the one you're on, which is our Mediterranean, or what we call our Epicurean expedition, sorry. And then we also have our cultural expedition. So you have a wide variety of choices that you can go to John and his team once you get off and want to book another Atlas cruise. So we're very, very destination focused. I just returned back in November from Antarctica, and it was incredible. It was a game changer. Again, having been in this business for so long, I was just blown away by how the ship that I was on, which was the Voyager, was just be able to traverse through the waters through Antarctica. Just so close to land. And these are beautiful, intimate yachts, without a doubt. I'm going to walk you through a couple pictures of some of the public areas and a couple of the staterooms and the service we have on board. Again, having been in this business, in the hospitality business and the cruise business for so long, it really boils down to our staff. And I have to tell you, it's almost a 1-to-1 guest to staff ratio. So think about that. You're going to be pampered big time. And you know what? If you want to be left alone, we'll leave you alone. But we can offer a beautiful ship and great culinary program and great destinations. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting good service, you're not going to come back. And that just doesn't happen with us. So I really have to give kudos and a shout out to our staff on board our vessels. Literally, literally within a day, they'll know everything about you, it seems like. They'll know what, if you want a drink or if you want whatever you want, if you want coffee, if you want tea, they will know that. So it's the personalized service is paramount, I believe. A wonderful thing about Atlas Ocean Voyages is that pretty much everything is included when you think about it. We do a free cultural immersion on this particular sailing that you're going to be doing. We have free dining venues. Change the menus every day. We have basically I'd say two restaurants because you're in the warm weather destinations, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Free unlimited beverages, including fine wines, spirits, craft beers, open bar. You have open bar even in your staterooms, what have you. We have stocked in room mini bars. We have these really cool coffee canisters in the rooms. We do an afternoon high tea in the Dome Lounge, and I'll show you a picture of the Dome Lounge because it's stunning and it's just a great views of where you're going. 24-hour room service. Again, that goes without saying. Free L'Occitane bath amenities if you're not familiar with L'Occitane, but it's pretty high-end amenities and really, really nice. And they actually they manage our spa. But a great thing about what we do, of course, is free prepaid gratuities. So you don't have to tip anybody when you get on board. I always say that I love the fact that our guests can come on without even opening, put your wallet in the safe, and more likely than not, you're never going to have to shell out any money. We have binoculars in the rooms because, again, the views are stunning, especially the itinerary you're doing. It's really incredible. Butler service if you are in a suite, and then we do use reusable bottled waters. So I talked a little bit about Epicurean expeditions, and this is you will be on an added, I guess it's an added feature with an Epicurean expedition. It's free culinary experience ashore. So we will take you. There'll be a one time where we could do an immersion, such as a market. Do maybe some wine tasting, things of that nature. Seven Aft Grill is an amazing restaurant. It's usually typically used in the warm weather destinations like you're going because it is outdoors. It's on deck 7. It's aft, hence 7 Aft Grill. Great experience. It's basically our steak and seafood restaurant, and it's just a fantastic place to just sit outside and enjoy the views and have a wonderful dinner. Reservations are required for Jasper Grill. Just to keep that in mind. Once you get on board, what you want to do is you want to make a reservation as soon as you can. We do culinary presentations, wine tastings, cooking demonstrations. We do events hosted that we have a taste and traditions expert on board. And of course we supply our guests with a backpack that you can get all the goodies when you go on shore. If you're looking at especially food. This is the ship that you'll be sailing on. It's the Navigator. She's a beautiful vessel. Basically, again, as I mentioned before, 10,000 gross registered tons. Flows really, really well. This obviously doesn't apply to your cruise, but these are polar built vessels, and they just handle. I just recently went through Drake's Passage, and it was absolutely awesome. But the vessels themselves, again, the sheer size, and just think about if you've been on a cruise before and you've been on a cruise with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 of your best friends. That's great. There's a place for that. But also think about a ship like this where it literally there's really only 4 decks that you really will probably navigate through. And I just show this as a little boring slide. I apologize, but basically our passenger decks, our guest decks are deck 6, 5, and 4. We do have a few cabins that have just a panoramic window. Those are very, very few, but a lion's share of our cabins are on deck 5 and deck 6. And then a lot happens on deck 4. That is where we have our restaurants, our theater, Paula's Pantry, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then deck 7, of course, we have the pool area, and I'll talk a little bit about that too. But small vessel, and I'll just give you a little I was my wife and I were on a cruise last year, and we were in the dining room, and she got a little chilly, so I literally went up to get her shawl or whatever it is, and came back. I mean, it took literally less than a minute. If you're on some of the bigger ships, which again, there's a place for that, it could take you 10, 15 minutes, but it's just so wonderful to walk around a vessel of this size. And then deck 8 is really more of, we do have a little jogging track in that area. But the one thing I do want to make note of on deck 5, if you look forward, there's it's basically an observation area where you can literally walk out on the bow of the ship. And keep in mind that these vessels only sit about it's called water's edge, and it's a great place for you to go out. You could sit, there's a bench there, you could sit there and just take in the tremendous views, and you're literally 30 feet off the water. Really beautiful. So let me just talk a little bit about, as I mentioned before, your sanctuary at sea. Again, I can tell you that probably the most beautiful bathrooms that I've seen on any vessel I've been on. There's a mosaic glass shower with a rain head and body jets. Fantastic, and of course we do the in-room mini bar, and I mentioned all of that, and then espressos. But this kind of gives you an idea of some of the deck space that you have if you choose to do a balcony, and of course our outdoors. We have 90% of our vessel has balconies, and 10%, and I'll cover that in a second, but 10% we do not, but I'll explain why. So the category B1s, which I think we're pretty close to being sold out. I think we have some B2s left, but this is a beautiful cabin. I mean, it's 270 square feet, very, very comfortable. It's got a great balcony, a veranda. And keep in mind that all of our staterooms, I don't care if you're in the one with just a picture window or a suite. We all offer the marble bathrooms and all of that, the wardrobes with the slippers, everything. It's all in every single cabin. But again, very, very comfortable, as you can see, very spacious. And this is a category B1 and B2. Now, if you notice, as I mentioned, it's 270 square feet. Now, if you elect to take a category A, which is this, that is also 270 square feet. But if you notice, the big difference is there's no balcony. The reason that is because we call this a Juliet balcony stateroom. And basically what it is it gives you a little bit more living space. As you can see, you got a couch there as opposed to just a couple chairs. And so you have a couch, and it gives just a little bit more space if you so choose. Especially, this is obviously very popular in Antarctica, but some folks actually like the Juliet balcony, and I do like it too. All you do is push a button, and the window goes halfway down, and you can enjoy all the views and sit there, and they're beautiful, beautiful cabins. Whoops. And this
in effect, your entire room becomes your balcony, because
yeah.
Just to jump on what Tim said, so the top half of that window goes down, and you can literally put your arms on it and lean out like you would over another balcony. So it gives you a lot of the advantages for the balcony. But I find myself in a lot of cruises using the Juliet balcony as much as I would use a step out balcony. But anyway, go ahead, Tim. Just wanted to
I agree
put my
100%.
2 cents in.
100%. This is the AO cabins that I was talking about earlier. This is a adventure. It's an ocean view. good size, 183 square feet. Again, has all the amenities that you would get in every single cabin that we have on board. So just to kind of walk you through, sorry, my mouse is a little crazy here. Um, so the Navigator, we have a couple different lounges on board our vessels. We have the Atlas Lounge, a great place to go, especially in the evening before dinner. This will be the first place that you actually will visit because once you get on board, the check-in process is right in the Atlas Lounge, and you'll be amazed as to how quickly it goes. But you'll be served, you'll get a drink, whatever you want when you check in. But I think you'll spend a lot of time in the Atlas Lounge. Of course, the piano, the entertainment that they have um, at night. But it's a beautiful, and it's literally right. It's on deck 4, and it's right around from the reception area and right down from the main dining room, which is very convenient, and that's why it gets a lot of activity, especially before dinner. Which, by the way, dinner is open seating. The Dome Observation Lounge, I love it, love it, love it. It's wonderful. It's about a 300-degree the views, the floor-to-ceiling windows. This is at the bow of the ship. It's on deck 7. This is very, very active, especially in the evening. But during the day, we do have high tea in the lounge. Very active place, but just a beautiful place. If you just want to sit, have a cup of tea, a coffee, have a drink, you sit there and just watch the world go by. It's just a really beautiful lounge. We do have an auditorium, and it's quite beautiful, to be honest with you. I anticipate that hopefully maybe we'll be doing some like cooking demonstrations, things of that nature. We use this a lot during our Antarctica with our expedition team, but we can literally seat all 190 guests in the auditorium at one time. Very comfortable. Again, sits more at the bow of the ship, but very, very comfortable. To kind of walk you through, this is our main dining room. Uh, and I put this slide on here for a reason because, you all do know each other and, the MOA members. And if, we have little nooks and crannies throughout the restaurant. And on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a little area where, if you have maybe 10 people, 8 people, and you want to sit together, just talk to the maitre d' and see if you could do that. But it basically wraps around as you walk in. On the bottom there, you'll see you walk in, and then you just walk around. We do buffets in the morning for lunch also. But you also could do a cook-to-order breakfast if you so choose. But the buffets are wonderful, typically European buffets, but again, they change daily, and but very, very comfortable. And again, this is on deck 4, huge windows to be able to see outdoors, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful dining room. Whoops. What the heck? Sorry. There we go. This is actually an extension of our main dining room. If you were to walk through the dining room, then you would get into what we call our alfresco dining area. Again, perfect for what you've chosen to do a warm weather destination because this will be open. Great place to have breakfast or lunch or dinner. And especially at dinner, it's really very cool because we have a chef out there. But this is a great way to just sit outside. One of my favorite places to go on the ship. I'll go to Paula's Pantry, get some coffee in the morning. I'm an early riser, and then go down and just sit in our alfresco dining room. It's just absolutely fantastic. Paula's Pantry. This is a place that you'll visit, I'm sure, frequently, especially during the day. Paula's Pantry is basically it's a to-go pantry. It's very, very popular. As I mentioned, my favorite thing to do is when I get up in the morning, I'll go down to Paula's Pantry. Paula's Pantry is open from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. And again, it's more of a to-go thing where I'll go down and you get a fresh pastry or whatever. They're big daily. But during the course of the day, say if you go out for a shore excursion and you come back and the restaurant isn't open yet, or it had closed, and you just want to get something to eat, you can get something to eat at Paula's Pantry. If you wake up in the morning, like I mentioned, and the restaurant typically doesn't open till 7:15, if you want to get a pastry, you can do that. Or later on in the afternoon, if you want some pizza or whatever. But Paula's Pantry is a very, very popular place. We do have specialty coffees, and trust me, I know you'll be visiting that quite often. I don't know what's going on here. This is 7 Aft Grill. This is the one I was talking about where reservations are required. It's outside by the pool area. Just a great area. Just a great experience. Again, steak, seafood, lobster, the whole 9 yards. And again, reservations are required. I highly, highly recommend this, especially since you're in a warm weather area. As I mentioned before, we do have a spa on board. It's a L'Occitane spa, uh, very popular, and reservations obviously are required. There is an upcharge for that. Again, keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier on, there's not many upcharges, but obviously with the spa there is. We do offer health and wellness. We do yoga in the back on deck 5. We do, as I mentioned before, on deck 8, there's a little running track or walking track. But quite honestly, I'm surprised at the size of the fitness center that we have, a fitness studio, because it really does meet everybody's needs when they're out and if they want to get some exercise. This is the pool area on the Navigator. We basically have, again, smaller ships, so you're not going to see, 1,000 chairs, but a very comfortable hot tub. Again, the full, and then we also have a restaurant. We serve lunch there during the day, but a great area to just kind of hang out. So I want to talk a little bit about. I did a portion of this cruise last year, my wife and I did. And I got to tell you, this is a great, great itinerary. The thing I love about this itinerary, it's very, very port intensive and beautiful. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's beautiful. And so let me just kind of walk through a little bit of the itinerary itself. John showed you the actual picture of the itinerary, but look at this itinerary. The thing I love about this is, you know what? If you get to Athens early, I would highly recommend you get to Athens early and maybe spend a couple days in Athens. Then you go and you board the ship on the 9th of August. But the thing I love about this is look at the times, the amount of time you're in port. Love it, love it, love it, because you're able to experience Greece, basically at its best. We don't leave till, obviously you could see late departures, which is nice because you have the opportunity to go in and go into town and do whatever you need to do if you do a shore excursion, what have you. But then also you can come back and you can have lunch or you can have dinner. A lot of folks, especially in an itinerary like this, a lot of our guests will just basically they'll go off the ship at 3 or 4 or 5, and then they'll experience one of the finer restaurants in whatever destination you're at. But I love the fact that it's so port intensive. So to kind of walk you through, obviously with Athens, as I mentioned before, great destination, beautiful area. I would recommend you go maybe a day or two before or post or pre or post, or maybe go on the other cruise that John's talking about. But it's just a great area with the Acropolis and everything about Athens is just really, really wonderful. And then on day 2, we will go to Mykonos, just a beautiful little town. And again, if you haven't been, highly encourage it. It's just the colors, everything about it, and obviously seaside. And there's so many little restaurants and so many things to do. We do there's a lot of olive oil and caviar experiences, ouzo experiences, walking tours, so many things to do in Mykonos. And quite honestly, I was very surprised when my wife and I went there, local brewery and bakery. It was just absolutely awesome. So then you would go there and again, spend the entire day. Kusadasi, very popular, very well known, obviously with Ephesus. uh, Hadrian's Temple. Um, Again, just a great area. And again, keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier on, we do have uh, shore excursions. We will offer one up for this particular sailing, and then you will have that opportunity to book other shore excursions when you get on board. Pot Moose is this blew me away actually, to be honest with you. I was really I'm somewhat of a uh, health nut, and I like to hike and things of that nature. And I did a lot of that on Patmos. The wine was fantastic. The fishing village we visited, it was just the coolest thing in the world. And but again, I would highly recommend. Obviously, hopefully everybody's going to get off the vessel and experience Patmos. Oops, Santorini, idyllic. It's just this is the place. Obviously, it's known for their colors, the white, the blue. Just an incredible island. I love Santorini. I did do, there's a lot of catamaran sailings, things of that nature. The village, the winery. Of course, you probably have seen in the past where you can ride the donkeys up the hill or down the hill. I did that once, and that was good enough. But it's a great experience, a lot of fun. Or you could take the cable car up. But Santorini, it's just a beautiful town. Wonderful restaurants throughout the entire town. There's some great beaches that I had been to. So, and this basically is what it looks like every single day. Nafplion, I've not been to, but my boss actually, she talked to me about it. Um, some great sightseeing, the drive through the city. There's a lot of really good things here. Visit the countryside where there's a lot of ruins and excavations and things of that nature. And again, you'll be spending some time there. This is a sleeper, though. This really is a sleeper. It's just a really cool little town. This is, a lot of beaches, a lot of beaches. One great museum and this mansion that we visited, but this is really more. If I could quantify, I'd say more of a beach town. But it's just really beautiful, and I would highly recommend doing, even if you don't go to the beach, but actually visiting a few, because the views are tremendous. And then, of course, then we end the cruise in Athens. And again, if you do a pre or a post, Athens is a beautiful city. It's vibrant, everything about it. I think John does a great job on getting this particular itinerary, Athens to Athens round trip. It's really amazing. So let me talk really briefly, and then I'll turn it back over to John. But I'm talking a little bit about our Epicurean. The beautiful thing about Atlas Ocean Voyages, we can offer, really expedition cruises. We can offer hiking and biking and all of that. But at the end of the day, you come back to a vessel, and we have a great culinary program, and this is a part and parcel of what you'll be experiencing. Epicurean expeditions, where we'll do the free cultural immersions. I talked a little bit about this, the cooking demonstrations. And then, of course, the backpack, as I mentioned before, you get the backpack that you were able to take home with you. But we have a gastronomic guest that comes on board and does some demonstrations, live demonstrations. Also, if you decide to go on maybe a culinary tour and visit markets, uh, they will actually take you out on land, and it's a great experience because you really get to experience that with the pros for sure. And this is open to all of our guests. We also bring on a visiting vintner, basically, if you like wine. This is awesome because we do some wine tasting events, and we did at least one wine tasting event and lecture per voyage. Just a great area and really, and they just bring the finest wines on board. And if you're into wine, it's just a great experience. This is a blast. This is called the Yachtsman Cook-Off. I experienced it. It was a lot of fun. It's out in the Alfresco area, if you remember that area outside. It's really cool. It's like an Ironman competition, and our guests actually get involved in this too. So it's kind of participatory, if you will, but it's fantastic, and it's just a great thing to do if you want to, if you got a couple hours to spare. But it's really wonderful. And again, I talked about the free cultural immersions, but you know, take advantage of it. Really take advantage of it. Where you may sample some cheeses and chocolates and things of that nature. And again, if you do go on land and visit some of the beautiful shops where you could maybe possibly pick up some local delicacies that you could enjoy. Obviously, now John is a very good negotiator, but we do offer, and this would be for future sailings, if you decide to go on Atlas, we do offer a military discount up to 20%, and John has actually already negotiated that in the pricing that we have for this particular cruise. But again, down the road, if you're looking at something else, always keep that in mind, that we obviously recognize you all. John,
Excellent.
I'm going to turn it over to John, and we'll do a Q&A.
There you go. Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on what Tim was saying. So in a couple of minutes, when we kind of talk about the pricing for the Greek Isles Signature Group, we also have a back-to-back option. When we went in and negotiated those rates, they already included that military discount. So when they talk about their military pricing program, and by the way, props to Atlas, Tim, everyone on your team. Not all the cruise lines, not all the tour companies offer discounts for military. And I think it's a very important thing for companies to do. So kudos for that. But yeah, when we talk about when we have a website like we have for the Greek Isle Signature Group and we list the price, that includes every discount we were able to negotiate. So that's kind of the pricing. So speaking of discounts, we do have a new program that we have that we just announced I think a week ago in the email that we sent out for this to talk about. We have 30 departures in 2024 where we have basically negotiated discounts. And these are discounts off of what you would get from another travel agency or what you'd get directly from Atlas. So I put this slide in here. This basically shows what you would have seen in that email invitation. And then I didn't want to list all 30 of them. That's kind of cumbersome in an email and try to scroll through that. So I just selected 3 of them to kind of show how this would work. So you look at the first one, Scandinavian Fjords. It's an 11-night departing on August 10th. Looked at a veranda stateroom. And the MOA rate is $69.99, and then we have the USAY $17.50 per person. And the way we come up with those savings is because the pricing we have, and we're gonna go this a little detail because people always get confused how these things work. I want to make sure everyone understands it. So what we have from Atlas is we have that rate of $69.99. And the way we figure out what that savings is we actually go to Atlas's website and look up that sailing and see what it is sailing for on Atlas's website. So that's $17.50. If you go to Atlas's website, they have a special going on right now. I think it's 2-for-1 pricing, a lot of other things that kind of go into it. But if you look at the price that we have is lower than the price that's on Atlas's own website. So Tim, if you go to the next slide, what this is and this is probably going to be a little bit confusing, but I kind of wanted to show you what we get from Atlas. So this is kind of what we get from Atlas, and I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit small, but that Scandinavian Fjords is the top one listed. And so it's destination, sail date, nights, what the itinerary is, and then the ship, and then those codes across the top for those next, dozen columns or whatever, not quite a dozen, are the cabin categories. So NS is Neptune Suite, DS is the Discovery Suite, and on across. And then the cabin categories, you know, Tim already talked about the A1s and the A2s and the B1s and the B2s, and that kind of stuff. So that's the way we get it. And so that top column is what our price is. That's the price that we can sell it to you from MOA. The red number underneath that is what the savings is off the price that you can get direct from Atlas or another travel agency. Now you'll notice as you kind of look down this sheet, and there's 30 of them. So once again, I'm not showing all 30 of them on a sheet because it's kind of cumbersome for 30. And what do we have? 8 on this page. Even one page gets a little confusing, but you'll see some of them, some of the sailings do not have a discounted price on all the cabin categories. And if you look at it from Atlas's kind of perspective, is they're offering us a discount on cabins they have available. Obviously, if they do not have any, you know, if you look at the second one, there's not an AO price listed. If they do not have AO cabins, we don't list that we have a discount on a cabin that's not available. The next slide, please. We actually have a website, and this is a screenshot of that website. And we will send, when we send everybody a copy of this presentation, we'll send you a link to this website. And we have some other vendors that we have negotiated special pricing with. So you may have seen a site like this before. But basically, we've taken that information that they sent us from the previous slide, and we tried to put it in an easy to understand, easy digestible format, if you will. And so what we do is we broke it out by the destination. So you can see the top 3 are Antarctica. Then it has the sail date, the number of days, the itinerary, what ship it is, and then for the savings, since it varies from cabin category to cabin category, we give you a range. So the way we would suggest you use this would be is if you wanted to go to Antarctica and you wanted to take advantage of the savings on these select dates, is you would give us a call or drop us an email and start a conversation with one of our cruise consultants and see what, you know, if you decided you wanted, let's say, a Neptune suite, you could come to that agent and you say, look, I'm looking for a Neptune suite, and they can get you the price on all 3 of these departures. Or whatever, you know, let's say you just want an A1 or a B1 or whatever that may be. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to take all of this information that we get from Atlas and try to condense it in kind of an easy to see format. And then you can use this as a tool to kind of decide where or when you might want to go. Now, we're talking about 2024, so I wanted to include this slide. This actual next slide is Atlas's Past Passenger program. So we had people do this for other signature groups in the past, and so it's something I've kind of started talking about. And so if you are planning on going on the Greek Isles signature group, if you were to take advantage of one of these discounted sailings in 2024, you can see by this chart, if you could read it, that just one 7-night or longer cruise puts you in that purple past passenger category. So when you sail next year on the Greek Isles, August of 2025, these are the amenities you would receive based upon the fact you're a past passenger. So there is kind of, not only is there a discount this year if you take advantage of these MOA exclusive discounted sailings, but it will also give you amenities for next year. So really kind of wanted to go through that. It's a lot. It gets a little confusing with the fact that it's only 30 sailings and the discount varies by what suite or stateroom category you're in. So we'll send you a link to the website, kind of look through it. If there's something that catches your interest, really the best thing to do is just give us a call or drop us an email, start that conversation, and then that consultant can get you as much information as you want or need to make that decision on whether or not you want to take advantage of one of these 2024 sailings. All right, Greek Isles. I put this in the chat a couple of times already. If you did not know, for all of the signature groups, we do a website for that signature group and put as much information as we have available in one location. So in addition to a webinar like this, where Tim kind of talks you through the ship, talks you through the cruise line, talks you through the itinerary, we also put this all online. And so you can see across the top, if you can read that, there's a number of tabs on this website. And I want to talk about just a couple of them when we go through it. There's obviously a lot of information. You can look as much as you want, but that kind of the first tab after home is pricing and accommodations. And so when you click on that tab, I only took one screenshot of it, but this is actually a picture of the deck plan of the ship, or the next slide is rather. And so when you go to this page at the top, it will show you all the cabin categories and what the price is for that cabin category. And it also shows you the savings on all of those individual cabin categories. And the savings start at $1,050 per person. And once again, it kind of varies from the different cabin categories. I think most of you probably are used to now. The more expensive the stateroom, the more the discount in dollars is going to be. So once it lists all of the, the Navigator Suite, Discovery Suite, the A1s, the A2s, the B1s, B2s, it shows the price for all those categories. And then we have a deck plan. And this was updated this morning. And as you can see, already over half the staterooms are sold out. And we're still what? We're still 18 months prior to sale.
Yeah.
So the signature groups typically will sell out, and they'll sell out well in advance. So I think I think I sent out an email that said we had 42 left. I think we sold one or two since then. So not a lot of staterooms left. Unfortunately, all the suites are already gone. We have, Tim mentioned it, that purple color on the bottom ship image is the B1s. There's only B1 left. So yeah, if you want to go and you have a specific cabin category you want, please get in touch with us as quickly as possible because the ship's filling up quickly. We had 120, 130 people sign up for today's webinar. Not all of them are obviously on the webinar. A lot of people tape them and watch the recordings later. But that email tonight will be going to everyone who registered. So we obviously have a lot more people who signed up for this webinar than space we have available. So we want you to be able to join us. Bring friends and family if you'd like to, but get back with us as soon as we can. Kind of when we go through this, if you go to the next slide, Jim.
John, kind of real quick, John, just because this is a great shot. I love the fact that you did this, but I just wanted to point out a couple things. Like on the aft part of the vessel, that's where our A's are.
With the Juliet balconies.
Yeah, with the Juliet balconies. But if you notice, it's all the way aft, and but there's the space where it says 10, 8, 6, 7. I want to point this out because it's very rare for an expedition ship to do how much outdoor space we have. I did touch on the fact that we have water's edge, but great areas to just, again, sit, relax if you're aft and just, grab a book or whatever. So these are really nice areas over and above, obviously, what we have on the top deck where the pool area is, but great observation areas. Again, very rare for a vessel of this size.
Yeah, great point. Can you go back one? It doesn't matter if you can. Okay. Well, I was just going to say one other thing. When you go to the website, it is actually the entire ship's deck plan. And so there is a key on the web page that will tell you what all the numbered things are. So from 1 to whatever the top number is, 24, whatever it is, you can look and see what is 21, what is 8, and those types of things. So there is a guide that will go through and tell you what all of those are. Two other things I wanted to point out is, first off, we had somebody ask about singles. There is a single supplement. It starts at $1,500 per person. If you go to the website and go to this pricing and accommodations page, on that kind of grid that I talked about, which lists, the stateroom or suite type, what the price is, what the MOA discount is. There's another column which shows what the single supplement is. And that single supplement varies depending on the cabin category, but you can actually see what the single supplement is for every cabin type that's on this ship. Now, like we do with all of our signature groups, we do offer a single share. We have a lot. I mean, there are 60,000 plus surviving spouses in MOA. So we know from doing these full ship groups, there are a lot of single MOA travelers. So if you are interested in avoiding that single supplement, now with Atlas, as I said, it starts at $1,500. So it is actually, I guess I'll say, palatable. If you look at some of the other ones too, for example, we have Paris and Normandy that's going in June. this year, two of them, June 2nd and June 9th. The single supplement on that ship is 100%. So if it's $50.99 for a classic room, you pay double that to go as a single. So on those ships in particular, we have a lot of people that take advantage of that single share. And basically what they do is they call up and they say, you know, I'm a single female MOA member and I would like you to try finding another single female MOA member to travel with me. We've had great success with that program. Our very first signature group was Paris and Normandy for the 75th anniversary back in 2019. We had some people, some women that we paired up on that who are still traveling with us together 5 years down the road, because you know, if you're a solo traveler, it is not a one-time issue you deal with. It's everywhere you want to go. There is that single supplement you have to deal with. Okay. All right. The back-to-back. If any of you were on the first webinar we did when we announced this cruise back in December, if I remember correctly, at that point we were just offering the 7-night Athens cruise. But we know from experience that a lot of members, a lot of people, I shouldn't just say members, a lot of people, if they're going to fly wherever, even if you live on the East Coast, it is a long ways from the East Coast to Athens. And if you're going to make that far of a flight, you know, Tim mentioned going in a couple of days early or staying a day late. Well over half the people, when they do any signature group we do overseas, do some type of extension. So we actually worked with Atlas and we put together a back-to-back option. So as you can, if you can kind of see the maps, you do the 7-night itinerary, August 6th, or excuse me, August 9th to the 16th, Athens to Athens. And then you can stay on the ship for 9 more nights and go from Athens to Dubrovnik. There is only one port that will be repeated. So if you did the back-to-back, Nafplion is the only port that you would go to twice. But I can tell you that there is so much to do and so much that's offered in Nafplion. You can easily spend 2 days, if not more, there. Most people have never been there before, so it's not like you're going to go to a port multiple times that people may have been to. You know, a lot of people have been to Mykonos, and you may not want to do Mykonos twice in 2 weeks. I can tell you, I love Mykonos. I would go to Mykonos every week if I could. But anyway, so we offer the back-to-back. It starts at just $68.48. That would be for that AO cabin on both ships. And then I think we have 20 people who've already signed up for both. So the MOA signature group, remind people we're holding the entire ship. So everybody on that sailing will be a MOA member. We are not holding the entire ship on that Athens Dubrovnik back-to-back opportunity, but we're talking about a ship that's got less than 200 passengers. So we already know at least 10% of that ship is going to be MOA members, probably more. I already talked about calling us. If you want to do this, please get hold of us as quick as possible, because what we want to hopefully be able to offer you is the opportunity to be in the same state. If you've ever done a back-to-back before, on a ship this size, I don't think it's that big of a deal to move from cabin to cabin, but why go to any effort if you don't have to? So if you get a hold of us, what we'll actually do is book both of them at the same time. And so you get on, and then for 16 days, you're in that same stateroom. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew that was available. Here is our contact information. I know a number of times as we've gone through this, I'm like, give us a call or drop us an email. Here's the email address. Here's the telephone number. Get a hold of one of our cruise consultants, talk to them, and let us help you put this together. And I saw we had a few questions come in, or one question come in while I was chatting, but Tim and I are now going to stay on. I know the webinar is scheduled to end in a couple of minutes, but as long as you have questions, we are going to answer them. I think I answered most of them already. Single supplement we talked about. Oh, shore excursions. When you look, one of the tabs on the website is inclusions, and it goes through everything that is included. The big items that are not included are going to be your airfare. We have members coming from all across the country. People want to come in early. They want to leave late. They want to visit other places in Europe while they're over here. I assume most of you served in the European theaters. We have people that will go over and visit friends that they have over here, or places they were stationed. So airfare is not included. Airfare is not included on any signature groups, just in case that ever pops into your mind. Trip insurance is optional, so trip insurance is not included. We highly recommend it, at least some level of trip insurance to cover you in case you have a medical emergency while traveling abroad. At the very least, get medical only. But it's, your vacations are an investment. You should at least consider or get a quote on trip insurance. And then shore excursions are not included. So those are the big three things that are not included on your Atlas cruise. Shore excursions aren't included. A lot of people on ocean cruises like to go off and do their own thing. They've been to a place before. We work with shore excursion groups, so we have a third-party company that can help you do shore excursions. But as I answered in one of the questions, we do have a tab on that website for shore excursions. Now, Atlas has not yet released their 2025 shore excursions, but what we do have is the 2024 shore excursion booklet. And it's a brochure, and it's actually on the website. So you can look up, Athens or Mykonos or any port that you're going to. If you're doing the back-to-back, you can look at Dubrovnik or all of those ports, and you can actually go through the brochure. It's alphabetical. You can look up that port, and you can see the shore excursions that are offered this year and how much those shore excursions cost. So if you're looking to kind of do some budgeting in advance and want to get a rough idea of what it's going to cost you for the shore excursions, you can actually use that, go through, see what's available this year, see what the pricing is, and that'll give you a rough idea. Can't guarantee the prices will be exactly the same, but if there's a price change, it's going to be, in that 5 to 10% range. They will add excursions as they see a need. If they have excursions that they get poor feedback on or no one's taking advantage of, they may drop them. But certainly we wanted to provide that information so you can use that to kind of give yourself an idea of what those excursions are going to run. And then we had one new question, which is, will we offer a pre-extension in Athens? It's not too early. I can tell you that I've been working on that for a while now. We will have a pre-extension available in Athens. We're looking to do a 2-night. We may actually offer a 2 or 3-night free option. As soon as we have that information, we will notify you and everyone else who signed up for any of our webinars. If you did a previous webinar, you know that when we got the information, for example, like we got the shore excursion booklet, we notified everybody. So as we get more information, we'll let you know, but we will absolutely offer a pre in Athens. I think when we talked earlier, the question came up about doing a pre-cruise and do a back-to-back. So a pre-cruise and then this cruise, the sailing before ours, which is Barcelona to Athens. Another group, not us, has actually taken that entire ship. So we are not the only people that look at a product like Atlas and say, oh my goodness, less than 200 people. That's a great size of ship to hold the whole ship. So unfortunately, the sailing before ours is not available. So you can't go to Atlas Direct and get it. We can't get it for you because somebody's holding that entire sailing. So we will do a 2, possibly a 3-night free package options for people. And then for post, we have the option of doing the back-to-back cruises. And then,
John, can I just interject?
Yeah, of course.
One thing real quick? Just a couple of things. Regarding the insurance, we do offer, well, we don't offer, we at no additional cost, we do trip delay and medical evacuation coverage is included at no additional cost.
Gotcha.
Just as an FYI. And secondly, and I'll leave you with this thought, again, I talked about the size of the vessel, and just imagine, again, cruising through the Greek Isles on a small little yacht, but the process of embarking the vessel and disembarking the vessel is so smooth, so quick. You don't have to wait in a lounge and take a number to get off the vessel. So just keep that in mind. Again, beautiful yacht. And that's the last
I was sorry
to say that.
No, I was going to say something earlier when we're showing what the schedule is. I mean, if you stop and think about it, I mean, let's say you're on, the last webinar I did, I don't know what Viking was at, but the one before that was Royal Caribbean, and they have the new ship, which has got 6,000 people on it. But even, their average ship is somewhere around 3,000. If you've ever been on one of those, you don't have as much time in port because the amount of time they have to allocate to get everybody on it and everybody off of it. You know, if you've been on those, they'll do the people that purchase the shore excursions on that cruise line get off first, you know, so they'll have them meet in some public area and they get off and they get on the buses. And if you're not on one of those excursions the cruise line's doing, you literally have to wait sometimes for hours. I mean, the ship will dock at 6 a.m. and they don't start letting people off till 9. So yeah, I mean, and there's so many advantages to a smaller ship. And a lot of those are doing with the timing. I mean, the lines and everything else. Okay. We had a question about the excursions are they on the Atlas side or MOA side? We have put all the information that we can get from Atlas on the Signature Group website that I'm going to send everybody a link to. I did put it in the chat as well, but we'll get that to you when you tonight. I think there's like 9 different tabs on it. And so you go across and it's pricing and accommodations, day-to-day itinerary. There's one that's inclusions. There's the pre and post. There's the shore excursion. So you go right across. And so all the information that we have is on that site. So when we get the information on the 2-night pre, right now you can see the pre's that were available, I think in 2023, because we don't have the 2024 information yet. But as soon as we have the 2025 Athens pre-packages available, they will be added to that website, and everybody who signed up for this webinar or any of the previous webinars will receive an email letting you know that that information is now available. So yeah, I will send you a link to the Greek Isles website, and everything is on that Greek Isles website. So one-stop shopping, if you will. There's actually also a book now form that when you decide you want to go, you can either give us a call or drop us an email. But I can tell you those book now forms save time because we need to make sure we get, you know, information accurately, the spelling of your name, your address, and all that. So it's a real simple form you fill out. It's just your name, your date of birth, your address, and that kind of stuff. You fill it out, you send it in, and then somebody here will call you to get your credit card information, help you select the cabin number that you want. You can put in your preference, and we'll call you back and we'll confirm that. It's just going to make a lot quicker phone call. I'm sure you've all done it where you're on the phone with somebody and they're trying to get all your information, and you know, so it saves time for everybody involved. Not a requirement, but we do it because it certainly makes things easier for everyone. So I think that's it as far as the questions. Lot of information. So I know how this works. We have this happen all the time. You're going to think about it. You're going to talk amongst yourselves. You're going to talk to friends and family. Other questions are going to come up. Drop us an email, give us a call. We are here to assist you and make this a possibility. We want you all to be able to join us. Unfortunately, we don't have space for everyone, but we want all of you who want to come to be able to come. So we look forward to hearing from you. We appreciate your time. I do want to real quick thank Tim. This is our 3rd webinar we've done with Atlas in the last 6 months. It's a lot of time out of Tim's schedule to devote to this, so we appreciate his time. And Tim, I'm going to turn it over to you for the final word.
Well, again, John, I really appreciate it. I love working with you and have for years. And hopefully the folks on the phone, the webinar will really think about this. It's a great experience, and you can't guarantee many things in life, but I got to tell you that it is just a fantastic product. And again, having been in this business for over 30 years, I can tell you that we're doing it right, and our guests are happy, which makes us happy, and that's all that matters. So happy cruising, and hopefully it's on Atlas Ocean Voyages.
There you go. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you.